Check out these hidden gems in Highland Park. Nah, I'm done gatekeeping. The best authentic Mexican taqueria in Highland Park is Home State. This is real LA street food. Nothing says tacos like brisket. I wanted to try a legit Oaxacan beer, so I ordered the Shiner Bock to wash down these Tijuana Panthers. It's my lunch break. Please don't tell my boss at Allbirds. You can taste the agave plant. I've been gatekeeping this next hole in the wall for far too long. Mendocino Farms. If a wildfire hits, these bricks are fire resistant, so the last thing standing in Highland Park will be Mendocino Farms. The Sandos here are table to farm and cage free. Nah, the watermelon poke salad is gas. Damn, look at this green juice, slime. But the cheat code is getting a half sando, half soup for dipping purposes. This is busting like some hospital food, twin. I got gatekeep once and hated it, so I'm about to spill some tea. If you get Homestay and Mendo back to back and say the secret password culture, you get $8 off Jenny's ice cream. Tell them Mendo sent you. The Homestay to Mendo to Jenny's pipeline is about to go stupid, twin, so tip well. I'm not really sure what these places are. I'm only familiar with new brick buildings that look like an Orange Theory.
TBTL. So happens I am on a first name basis with some of the most influential, some of the most powerful people in this business. So, get Chuck Woolery on the phone.
I love to peel the strawberries. It's nothing like when your lips contact a skinless strawberry.
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
He's my devil, my dark lover, my alter ego. Sometimes I think he's my conscience.
I should have prepared, but I just watched TV.
I could really use a win here.
All right, hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to a Wednesday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
I'm so excited about this show.
My name's Luke Burbank. I am your host.
Never let me slip, because if I slip, then I'm slipping.
Coming to you from Midtown Manhattan. That's right. Not the same hotel that we were recording at the last 2 days. I have moved about 4 blocks. Did I take a lift? The 4 blocks between my different Midtown Manhattan hotels so as to avoid wheeling 2 suitcases through what is notoriously the most annoying 4-block stretch of maybe anywhere in America. You bet your sweet patootie I did. It's also very loud where I am. Like, I'm in a different hotel. I'm a few floors up, but it's near where guys like to play drums on buckets. And I'm really happy for them that that's working, that that's a business model that is successful for them. But it's it's fairly constant, I've noticed, since I've been in this room. So
Too loud and too specific.
Hopefully, we will be able to get through this show without too many interruptions. This show that is at episode 4,591 in a collector's series.
Let the fun begin.
I am here in New York City, a day that New York is in the news.
I've got lots of news.
Based on the election of Zoran Mamdani last night as mayor of this fine city, New York City. I'd like to talk about that, I guess. Also, of course, some of the less covered news, pigeon theft. From a guy who's trying to battle wage theft to a guy who's trying to commit actual pigeon theft and is honestly getting off kind of light. We'll talk about what's going on here in the Big Apple. And also, we're going to do something kind of special today.
This is special. This is special.
We will do some early Blur's Day messages. That's right. We're doing the Blur's Days on a Wednesday because our Thursday TBTL got a case of the Fridays. So
my birthday today.
We'll celebrate those birthdays together today. If, by the way, if you didn't get yours in time because you were waiting until Thursday, just send them in and we'll celebrate any late stragglers next week who we missed this week. I'll tell you somebody that we couldn't even do the show without him, and so we're never missing him. Because he's always here and thankfully always standing in as the longest running co-bro of the show. Maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships.
He was king of the tuk-tuk sound.
He's Andrew Walsh, and he is joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. Were you slowing down your introduction to me because you saw I was finishing an email? And don't say no, because that would be the sweetest thing ever.
Also, that would be a high level of professional ability.
Courtesy,
you know what I mean?
as
Like,
well. Yeah, it seemed like, because you don't know this, I guess, but I was just getting to the end of an email that I was furiously typing out, and I was doing that thing. I was just signing it with the all cap thank you with a lot of yous, and I know that right as I was getting near the end, you started slow walking your intro to me, and it felt like we were very much in sync.
I would love to get the props on that. I would love to get the credit. That was just a little bit of, I guess you could say, serendipity. But I do think I could do that if need be. Maybe we can work out some system where you're letting me know, like basically stretch. I mean, this famously, did you ever use any of those hand signals in talk radio
This
in your
one
days
here
in
that
the
I'm
booth?
doing, I'm
Yep,
stretching.
I see that
What I'm
now.
doing is I'm putting my fingers together like I'm holding not even a rubber band, but more like a silly putty, and I'm pulling it apart like that. Is that what you used to do?
Yes.
Yeah, stretch.
The number, the nothing would strike terror in my heart as a host, like looking through the glass and seeing a producer doing that.
That's a
Because
really good
some
point. I
guest-
only think about it
Some
from the
guest had
producer.
not shown up.
Yeah, I don't think that I've done it. I don't think I've been subjected to that. That's a really good point. That I was thinking that you were going to say that you did that to hosts as well, but no, you had people doing that to you. Yeah, that seems irritating.
I mean,
sorry, every host I ever worked with.
But also, you were a host of the Andrew Walsh Show, and there must have been some point at which Nick had to say, "Hey, the guest isn't here. Hold on, just kind of keep,
It was always
keep
implied.
tap dancing."
It was always implied that I had nothing to say. It was like stretch for 3 hours, Luke. It started at 7, and it was just a continuous silly putty string.
I was reminded being here in New York City. I love that we have this absolutely historic election last night of Zoran Mamdani, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the Joey Reynolds show on WOR Radio, which I believe ran from maybe midnight to 4 a.m. During the week back in the day, back in the the late 90s. When I was out here interviewing for the job, I was in the cab the other day, and the guy had WOR on the radio, which is like a AM talk station here in New York, and I was being reminded of the fact that had that job paid more than $24,000 a year or something in maybe 99, probably 1998, 1999, I came out here for this job interview. But what it would have involved is producing for, again, an amount of money that would make it impossible for me to live in any one of the boroughs of New York or any of the parts of Jersey that are close. It also involved producing a show. I think it was at a minute. It might have been 5 hours. I think it was 5 hours of live radio overnight. And I didn't know a lot about talk radio at that point. I had worked at KVI, I guess. What I knew is that there's no way in God's green earth I was going to be able to produce that amount of overnight radio. That sounded like a living hell to me. That sounded like 3 a.m. No one's calling in. Larry King is drunk, and things, the wheels are coming off the operation. I don't know how that was. That might still be on the air. The Joey Reynolds Show might still be going for 5 hours overnight on WOR. I don't know, but I'm just saying my hat is off to whoever the producer is there, who has to probably constantly go stretch Joey Reynolds. It's 2:30 in the morning and we have no callers, and we've still got to do this for 2.5 more hours.
Well, I have some good news for you. Joey Reynolds is on Wikipedia, not a was on Wikipedia. So that is good right there. That's always very,
Glad
very
to know
good.
That. Yes.
Joseph Pinto, better known as Joey Reynolds, is a longtime radio show host and disc jockey. Reynolds,
Nice.
Do we have disc jockeys anymore? I guess we do. Does anybody consider themselves a disc jockey?
I think they're still called DJs, even though the discs have not been jockeyed for years.
Yeah, I guess that is
The
true.
discs have gone unjockeyed.
Nobody's jockeying my discs, Luke. It's a real problem. Nobody clipped that.
Speaking
Wow,
of-
he has worked for a lot of stations. Oh my gosh. So can I actually, before we switch off of this, I'm
Yes.
interested in this. Tell me more about the show. This was not conservative talk radio. That was your background
No.
at the time. This was just like kind of whatever pop culture-y kind of nighttime radio. That
It was
sounds
just
kinda
kind of,
cool.
it sort of does now to me as I guess, a person who's a little bit older, and I think I like things that are quirkier. But at the time, I think what I wanted to do was work somewhere on something that had the high prestige guests. I wanted to be somewhere where it's like we're getting on the important people who are writing the important books or these important politicians or actors or whatever the deal is. I didn't want to be like, we're going to go a full hour between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. with the, like, you know, the guy who, you know, makes a certain kind of a cookie down in, you know, Lower Manhattan from Sal's Cookies. And he's going to come on and talk about his or whatever, you know, like the quirkier side of life. Because the only way you can do a show of that, like literally that many hours a night, that was what stopped me in my tracks. Because at that time, I think I was producing 3 hours of live radio, and that seemed like a lot of work. And this was like, I think maybe 5. And I just thought, I just imagined how unbelievably unhurried the conversations would have to be to fill that much time, that I just thought, like, I don't want to do that. And the irony, Andrew, the irony is, here I am having a very unhurried 5-day-a-week conversation with you. So, I mean, I've basically created the Joey Reynolds show here, but we call it TBTL. But that whole vibe of just kind of like, we're hanging out, we're talking, we're not in a rush. There's nothing of any high stakes is happening here. Like, that was what was kind of turned me off about the idea of producing that show. And yet here I am voluntarily for many years now, maybe going on what, like 17 years or something, doing that thing here with you.
Well, don't forget, you were able to book MSNBC's or MS Now's Chris Hayes on Election Week 2025. Like, don't make it sound like we're not booking the big guests.
I mean, that was, you know, that was, again, to use that word, that was fairly serendipitous that we were talking to him. Can we talk for a little bit about this MS Now thing? Because I noticed when we were at Chris's house, when I was in his studio, he's got this, you know, he's got this great podcast, Why Is This Happening? And I was impressed at how on it this company is about the change of the name. So, you know, it's been called MSNBC. They're going to start calling it MS Now. He had a little kind of sign that was his logo, if you will, for his podcast, Why Is This Happening? And it says MSNBC almost in imperceptibly small letters in the corner. Like, nothing you could see if you're watching a video of him, you know, that from him interviewing a guest or whatever. In the way background, there would be this picture of him, this kind of illustration of him, and it says MSNBC. And they had already sent him the replacement that said MS Now in the same tiny font. I was like, wow, they're really getting ahead of this. And last night, as the election results were rolling in, I was sitting on my bed in the hotel room, watching the results like a kid, you know, opening his Christmas presents early or something. Like, it was very heartening results to see. Now, they didn't have Kornacki on MSNBC. They had Ali Velshi, and I thought, doing the election map, I thought Ali Velshi did a great job, but I did not appreciate NBC poaching Kornacki from MSNBC. I know they've been doing that for a while now, but that just feels like a real New York Yankees, Los Angeles Dodgers kind of move. Like, Kornacki, you know, you simply visited the election map. Steve Kornacki was born in it. Like, he is the bane of pushing those districts and interpreting the information, and he started doing that on MSNBC, and he got so good at it and became such a weird quasi-cultural phenomenon that now, on this special day, this is MSNBC's day to shine. Then they come in and pluck Kornacki, and they bring him up to the network level, away from all the people who he knows and loves. The only people he's ever known and loved. I don't like it, Andrew. I don't like it at all. And that's not a knock on Velshi. I thought Velshi did a really good job.
Well, first of all, I'm writing a headline right now. TBTLs, Luke Burbank compares Kornacki to Bane. And then let's see here, in quotes underneath.
Yes.
So I look at it
TBTL's
slightly...
Burbank claps back at Kornacki. :
Fam.
What is he, like, Bane? Fam?
So
Luke Burbank no longer gatekeeps his opinion on Steve Kornacki.
I was gatekept once. I didn't like it. Do you want to shout out that comedian actually at the top of the show, that tape we played?
His name's Carmen Christopher. He's on he's on The English Teacher. English. What's the show that I actually really keep meaning to watch because it's got a bunch of people I like. It's got Brian Jordan Alvarez on it. I think it's just called English Teacher.
I don't think I know this at all.
So he's one of the teachers on that show. It looks like a really, really funny show, actually. He was also on that Joe Pera show. We play a different intro tape of him. where he's the one that we're sitting around the campfire, and he says, like, my mom needs a new liver.
Yeah, how's your
That's
mom
Carmen
doing, by the way?
Christopher.
She's hanging in there. I didn't realize that was him. Okay, and I've never heard of this show called The English Teacher. I'm looking at it now, so that's interesting.
It looks,
thought he was just a
the clips that I see,
guy.
it looks really funny. He's Carmen Christopher is he shows up in I Think You Should Leave stuff. He was in Friendship. He was part of that crew of friends. He's the guy who says a really funny. His name is really funny at the end of Friendship. Remember how
I don't want to spoil it, but that last big climactic scene.
And there's something, I forget now the specifics of it, but there's something about what I think his name is on the show that was just, or like, in the movie, like they're introducing themselves or something. There's something with Carmen Christopher's character's name in Friendship that was like the last little lagniappe of comedy for the whole movie. But he does these great videos where he's just basically completely sort of parodying a certain style of TikTok video, which, because I'm terminally online and terminally looking at TikTok, I've been given 2 weeks to watch, Andrew. They've said it's terminal. I know what the forms are. I really enjoy TikTok parody because I spend too much time looking at the actual thing that's being parodied. And there's a certain kind of I'm walking around a neighborhood and I'm introducing you to all the cool stuff video, except his is, what if that guy was in a very gentrified neighborhood now, like Highland Park, but all he went to were things like Mendocino Farms and other massive, regional chains. And if he kept talking about how he wasn't gatekeeping everything, fam.
to get that Oaxacan taste, he drinks a Shiner Bock.
Shiner Bock.
And he tastes the agave. It's
really
good.
It's really, really good stuff. Okay, so back to
Kornacki.
now.
So it was my understanding. So I want to use slightly different, because you were talking about NBC plucking him. Now, I could be wrong about this, but I would use different terminology. It's almost like NBC
maybe they hired him,
bogarting him, because I thought that's, and I could be wrong, but I thought that I read that when the first news actually happened, that as what is now MSNBC breaks away from NBC, and you have a lot of people who worked for both. It was my understanding that NBC was keeping Steve Kornacki in the divorce, but I guess he could spend some holidays with MS now, possibly, depending on what the court says.
He does get 2 Election Day presents. So that's kind of good. No, you know what? I didn't even think of. I'm still thinking about MSNBC and NBC as being connected, but they're not. I mean, only in the most tenuous of ways, that there's something having to do with the spinoff that is still, maybe it's NBC shareholders or something, but they are effectively separated now, or will be. And you're absolutely right. Of course, they just basically, he got called up to the show. Kornacki did, and now he lives there. I don't know why I expected to see him on MSNBC. And again, I do think that Ali Velshi did a really great job. It was fun to see somebody poking counties and seeing numbers that didn't make me want to fill my pockets with rocks and walk into the Columbia River. It's been a while, my friends. It's been a while since I've gotten to see that. And it was the complete opposite. And unfortunately, I guess you could say the stakes are not quite as high this time around as they were in the last election cycle. But that experience of watching somebody poke, and if people don't know what I'm talking about, they have these election maps now that are highly digital, highly interactive, highly sort of up to date, so that you're always, and we live in an age where you always want more information and more data points and things. And so you've got somebody in front of this big digital map poking these little tiny areas of a state and telling us, in this county, here's how Donald Trump did last time, and here's how the Republican candidate is doing this time, and here's how Kamala Harris did there versus how this, and it's all this. It's basically this way for me of trying to allay my anxiety by seeing trends that are positive, by seeing that oh, well, the Democrats are now overperforming Kamala Harris from 2020, and in fact the Republicans are underperforming Donald Trump, and that means that maybe our nation has somehow collectively gotten its shit back together. That's what I'm looking for with that data. And in 2020, I knew very, very quickly, as many of us did, that things were trending in a very bad direction, because we were seeing all of these counties where we wanted, if you were voting like I did, you wanted one sort of thing to be happening, and it was never quite happening. It was never quite, Democrats are over, Kamala Harris is overperforming where Joe Biden was here, et cetera. So that was tremendously gratifying last night, and kind of felt really nice. I will say, seeing the MS now, and I don't want to just say this because we're friends with Chris Hayes or whatever, I didn't feel tremendously jarred. I don't think it's that jarring. Like, I know some people point out that it might be almost like it's MS as it refers to a woman, Ms. or whatever. And like, I know there was people were kind of having some fun with it when they first announced it. I have to say, like, I'm not just trying to, like, I don't know, be a apologist for the network that our friend works on, but like, it feels like I read a story in the New York Times that they're spending $20 million. I think it's $20 million on the campaign to rebrand it and let everyone know it's MS Now. And I was looking at it, I was like, I would have done it for $100. Give me $100 and tell me it's MS Now, and I'll just start calling it that in my mind. Like, it's, and then they were playing these promos last night during their election coverage, and Chris was introducing some of them. And he was saying, look, I just want to tell you, it's gonna be called MS Now. You don't have to do anything different.
He said that?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Literally,
that.
he
That's
said,
really funny.
he was like, you're just gonna keep watching this TV channel you're watching right now. The shows are the same, the schedule's the same. The only difference is we're going to be saying MS Now instead of MSNBC. And like, I mean, that's just kind of been it. I guess what I'm trying to say is I've been sort of not very riled up by this, considering I'm a power user of MSNBC, a regular viewer of it. But I thought that would seem, and I'm very quick to want to criticize corporate culture. But to me, it seemed like an okay solution to the problem. Like, we're just going to call it MS Now, and and whatever. I mean, I'm sure I'll call it MSNBC for a long time accidentally, but it just seemed like the idea that it's costing $20 million to tell people that now it's just got a couple different letters. It's, by the way, it's got 2 different letters. It's only the O and the W, right? That have changed.
I have a confession to make regarding MSNBC. I've been gatekeeping a story from you, Luke, which is only kind of quasi-related.
I was gatekeeped once, and I did not like it.
That's only like quasi-related to this conversation. But
that's fine.
The reason I'm thinking about it is because I did watch some MSNBC last night for the first time in literally a year. Because first of all, I don't have cable, so I don't have easy access to MSNBC. Last night, I didn't really watch the results come in because Genevieve and I were recording, but as soon as we were done recording, like, all of the results, all of the major results were basically already in. And so I got a text from our buddy Hauser, who was letting me borrow his Fubo during the baseball postseason. And he said, "Oh, I'm watching on MSNBC. You should watch too." I'm like, "Oh, that's right," because I think he's canceling his Fubo. So he's like, "We got to use it. We got to use it as much as possible."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, "Okay." So I have a little laptop set up in my dart area, and I'm kind of just throwing darts. I had a day where I was, well, this is unimportant, whatever. I just had a day where I was very productive, but I was sitting in my chair all day long yesterday, and it felt so good to stand. I know that sounds nuts, but like, so I was like, okay, I'll just I'll turn on the MSNBC, watch the speeches, the victory speeches, and throw some darts or whatever. Genevieve was downstairs. She was keeping an eye, and we both were on the local results, which were still coming in at that point. But all of that is to say, it did sort of have a nostalgic feel for me to be watching MSNBC. The last time I followed MSNBC was the audio-only feed on my phone that I listened to 1 year ago on the night of the presidential election results coming in. And Luke, that was a bad night for me.
How did that go, by the way? I'm trying to remember what the outcome of that was.
I got it written down somewhere. But one thing I told, as awful as that night was, Luke, you know what I never told you? I set my kitchen on fire that night. This is the 1 year anniversary of me setting my kitchen on fire, sort of.
That tells you how shaken up we were by the results of that election, that I set my kitchen on fire did not enter the discourse the following day.
Now, I'm exaggerating a tiny bit. I did set my oven on fire. I mean, literal fire, flames. And I'm realizing now, and it's weird that I'm making this connection right now, isn't that exactly what happens in the little cartoon, the one-panel cartoon of the dog with his kitchen on fire, and he's saying, this is fine?
This is fine?
Yes, because
I believe you, this is find yourself, sir.
What I was doing that night was, I think that it was pretty clear early on that things were going badly. It was very clear early on. And so it was like, how much of this will we follow? But I was still listening to the MSNBC audio feed on my phone. I was drinking, as you might guess. And I was listening to it. And then I remember thinking, well, God damn it, I'm just going to make that frozen pizza. I think we had a frozen pizza in the freezer or something. And I just remember being, I mean, as
we all grieve in our own way.
I was just so full of despair. I remember being like, I can't describe my feelings that night, but they were really bad. And it turns out that things were even worse than I thought they were going to be on that night for this second administration. But I was just in such an ugly way. I don't know. I just remember my whole brain being this toxic black cloud. And I remember at one point being like, just make that fucking pizza that's in the freezer or whatever. And so I pull it out and I start heating up the oven. I'm like, preheating the oven. And it starts to smoke a little bit. You know how sometimes when you have some gunk on the bottom of your oven and it starts to smoke, you're like, shit, that makes the house smell bad.
I've actually got some of that going right now, which means I could clean it or I could just stop cooking anything in the oven, and that's what I'm going with.
Or you could just move. That's a
I'm considering it.
Yeah. So I look in the oven, and I think that I had roasted a chicken, in the prior week or something. And I think I didn't realize, because sometimes your oven just gets a little bit dirty and it needs some care, but you can just kind of power through it. But I peek in the oven and I'm like, shit, there's like a whole bunch of either grease or butter or something like that had like kind of spilled out of some sort of a baking tray at the bottom of the oven. I'm like, ugh, that's kind of rough. And again, and I'm listening to the election results and I'm drinking and I'm angry and I'm just like, everything just seems terrible. And I'm like, well, this is getting worse and worse. It's smoking so much that I don't want to power through it. Even if it would work, it'd make the pizza maybe taste bad or something. This is worse.
You're essentially smoking a pizza, which I promise you,
exactly.
You're going to see someone on Instagram telling you that that's the only way to make a pizza.
That's how you get the
smoke
Oaxacan
it for 12
flavor,
hours.
Fam. Absolutely.
Right, twin.
So anyway, this is where I make a really, really bad decision. Instead of like letting it cool down and just saying I'll deal with it later, this is so dumb. This is, you do not do this. I'm like, you know what? This has a self-cleaner function, and I'm trying to think maybe I used it once or not. And you know what that does? That just locks the oven up and puts the oven to extreme temperatures,
nuclear,
right? Like 800, 900, I think possibly. Some ovens go up to 900, like extreme heat, and that's how it's quote unquote self cleans. It just chars everything in there, and then you can go in and vacuum. But the thing is, you're not supposed to self clean when it's that deep of a spill in there, right? And I didn't realize that. I wasn't thinking. I was just angry. And so I just was like, fine. I just take out the pizza, or the pizza's not in there yet. It's just preheating. And so I just put on self clean. And what do you think happens as the oven gets hotter and hotter? The smoke turns to flames. And I'm looking in my oven, and my oven has become a fireplace. And I'm trying to think, was this my new oven?
Did you take a picture of this?
No, I wasn't in the mode for that. And you know what it must have been?
You weren't contenting, Andrew, and that was your mistake.
I wasn't contenting. I didn't even tell you the story for a year. I'm trying to think if it was our new oven. I feel like it must have been our old oven. I think it was maybe our new oven was coming right after that or something, because I think I would remember this differently if this was our brand new oven I was doing this to.
Yeah.
I know that we got our new oven around this time, around Thanksgiving. So let's just say it was the old oven. But I have it full on fire. For the first time in my life, I have to find the fire extinguisher in an emergency. And luckily we have them under two different sinks. And at first, everybody who's in any kind of a relationship, romantic or otherwise, but shares a home with somebody probably has a moment of, do I have to involve somebody else in this right now? Or can I get away with this?
Definitely doing everything in my power to not alert the person I live with that this is what I've just done. This of all nights.
On the worst of all nights. And now I literally have flames going up. And then that's right. It got to the point where the flames and the smoke were so bad, I couldn't be in the kitchen. Like, you hear about houses burning down and like the inhalation and all this stuff. Like, I've never had anything even close to that sensation before, but this got so bad. We did not end up deploying the extinguisher. I know that because that would have been a whole cleanup in and of itself. I think I just was able to stop the self-clean, turn it down. I obviously did not introduce water into the situation. I might have
that's a big one they talk about. Is that
because of
is that because of if it's an electric stove?
Grease. It was a grease fire.
It was a grease fire, so the water's not going to help that. I guess.
Don't think
I've always
so.
known that you don't throw water on a fire that's happening with the stove, but I never knew why that was.
Yeah, I think because water and grease will just separate. Somebody could explain it better than me. I don't know. All I know is that it's not a good thing to do, and it can just like spread it. It could just splash around essentially. So I know I didn't use water. I do remember at some point being like, I got to loop Genevieve in on this. She's downstairs in her own just misery cave, like sitting in front of her computer screen watching the world burn while I'm burning the kitchen up. So I'm just like, Vives, there's a fire. I'm like, can you find the fire extinguisher?
What was her? Do you remember what her response to that little breaking news was?
She said, I'd divorce you if you existed. No, no. I remember her being just like jumping to the moment. Like she, as far as I remember, she never gave me any grief about my dumb decision leading up to that moment. Because I think I was probably self-flagellating anyway.
Yeah.
And anyways, I kind of don't remember, but I just remember her kind of like, oh my God, okay, I'll get the fire extinguisher from down here because we have a sink upstairs and a sink downstairs. And I think I was like yelling at her while I was scrambling, looking for the fire extinguisher under the sink upstairs. Intellectually, I knew that we had one under both sinks, but in that moment, you're like, did I move it? Do we just have one? Have I been imagining, so I'm like kind of knocking over a bunch of
How many fire extinguishers do you think I have in my house?
You need to get one, Luke.
I have 7.
Oh, good. Oh, I thought you were going to say that you're living dangerously.
They're everywhere.
Good.
People comment on it. No, I hit this. I had some moment, some evening, some dark night of the soul where I thought, after all of this work and money to try to make this little house a home, if it were to catch on fire, I would be so bummed, like so incredibly bummed because of all the process of getting it kind of the way that it's all set up now. And I took that anxiety and I just turned it into just hammering Amazon.com and purchasing like a comical amount of fire extinguishers so that like every time you turn around, there's one. I think you even noted one maybe.
Oh, yeah, you did have
in
one.
A photo.
No, we were on a Zoom call. We were on a Zoom call, I think. And I noticed you had a fire extinguisher that was up on your mantle, almost displayed or something.
I know, that's how many I have. I'm trying to turn them into art so that like I decided that I wanted it to be the case that if something were to catch on fire like you're describing, any direction that somebody turned, they would just like find a fire extinguisher. Like you could not panic so hard that you would not be able to locate a fire extinguisher because they were going to be like basically omnipresent to the degree that it's like a little weird now. And I have put some of them in a closet because it was like too many. But that's my fear, is that something will catch on fire and I will go into such a panic that I will lose the ability to think rationally.
Yeah. Yep. And that's where I was in this darkest of moments. I think what ended up happening was I turned off the oven. The flames died down on their own. I let the oven cool off, but it became so smoky. And again, these were flames. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not exaggerating that part. I was exaggerating
when
I said.
Did the flames leave the interior of the oven? Did they ever? Okay,
that's
so they were
what I was sort of. That's why
least.
when I said I set the kitchen on fire, I was exaggerating a bit there, but it was like looking into a fireplace through the glass door of the oven. And then when it finally died down, and I had to like start airing the place out, certainly immediately afterwards, I couldn't be in the kitchen. It was the first time I ever had so much smoke in a room that it was burning my eyes and lungs and burning everything. Jeez. And again, Genevieve was very cool about this whole thing, was glad it didn't get worse. I think we just had other things on our mind, right? And so she went back downstairs and I just had to open. I think this was during a period where our storm door on our front door was broken too, or some. I might be wrong about that, but I think I had to like make sure the cats were downstairs so that I could just open the front door, and there was no screen or anything like that. I just opened the front door and I opened our kitchen window, and of course it's November, it's cold outside, and it just took forever. I think even still the next morning the house smelled like smoke, and this was all just happening on election night, and I just remember thinking like, could this be more perfect?
I mean, just like that sort of trying to get the smoke out, and then eventually presumably like, I guess you couldn't open the oven for a while still because it was still like probably in locked cleaning mode. Just like doing any of the small tasks of life that are not particularly fun on a good night. That's where I'm not. I don't think I'm built for. I don't think I'm built for tough times because, like, I don't like doing a lot of stuff just normally, and then you throw on the End of Democracy, and then I've also still need to go find some Brillo pads and some Bon Ami. Hasn't scratched yet, and get to work on it. Like just the mundane tasks of life when they're happening against the backdrop of what feels like such a macro threat to life as we know it and to just justice. I don't do well in those situations. I don't know what I would have done, but I think you handled it better than I did.
Well, that's why I was in such a fuzzy state.
That's why the oven fire you set last night was kind of fun.
That was a celebratory fire.
Yes, you were roasting marshmallows.
Well, that's why I don't think this would have happened if I were in a different mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do think there's some causality here. I think I was just in this mode of just like, I don't know. I can't handle it. Whatever. Put on self-clean. You wanted to self-clean America.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, I think that if I were in a more regular state of mind, I'd be like, whoa, I must have spilled some butter in here, or some, chicken fat or whatever it was. And I would have probably let the oven cool down, and I would have put on a podcast, and I would have known to go in there with some rags and clean up the worst of it. And then maybe do a self-clean after that if need be. You just can't self-clean a puddle of oil. And I just think that I was in some sort of a screw it mood, and just probably that led me to do that. I also got to say, I didn't discover self-cleaning functions on ovens until pretty late in life, and they're really awesome. Like, when used appropriately, they're so, I don't know if you ever use that.
I have never deployed the self-clean option. It to me is
so great.
It's sort of literally and figuratively the nuclear option. It's like, it feels to me like I need to put on a high-waisted tweed suit and a fedora and get a pack of cigarettes, because I'm Oppenheimer at that point. I'm starting a reaction in the kitchen environment. I need to go hide behind a couch. I need to go hide in a hut behind a couch. You've seen Oppenheimer, I believe, right?
Yes.
It seems like
you're wearing those glasses. You're wearing those dark glasses.
The ramifications of what you have set in motion. It's I have become oven cleaner.
Yes.
I believe is the quote.
That is famously. Well, I am really sad that this is the story that you're hearing related to self-cleaning ovens, because I got to say, I made a mistake this time because there was way too much gunk in there, and that's not how that works. But especially you must have a modern stove, right? You just redid your whole kitchen.
I have the same kind that you do.
Oh, really?
LG? Mine is an LG, and it's got that ceramic, that blue ceramic.
That blue,
inside.
I do like that blue. Isn't it funny how you just add a little?
Is your LG part of the what's the name for these? Because they're technically it's technically Wi-Fi enabled, right? And it's got Insight or something. It's like the LG Insight network of things, because my stove is one, and my microwave, I've never gotten them successfully to talk to each other, or even maybe, I don't know, stage a mock wedding with me as the bride. Other things that you would do if you could get all of your kitchen appliances to come to life, Cinderella style. But it's like Think.
I'm looking to see here. I don't know.
It's the Think network, but the Think it's a Q. It's like THINQ is what I think the name for the way that you could. If you have the same one that I do.
Yep, I see it now.
And I think here's what you're supposed to be able to do with that bad boy. Like, if you're on your way home with the kids from soccer practice, like you are so often, and you realize that oven's supposed to be preheating, you can start preheating from your phone.
I don't know for sure that we have that. Like, ours definitely has some sort of Bluetooth technology, if you could believe it. I hope you're right about this. Here's the deal. I am not somebody who likes to read instruction manuals and never feel the need to, but I really need to sit down and just watch a quick video or read the manual for my oven, because we love this new oven. We hated our old one so much, and we love this new one, but I'm not using any of the functionality that a modern oven allows. I'm not using, whether it's Wi-Fi, because I thought that my understanding of the quote unquote smart features on mine were very limited to you can hook it up to your phone and the app will tell you, maybe you can set a timer or something, but I didn't think you could actually control the oven functions. I hope I'm wrong, and as I say this, it sounds like I probably am wrong. I just haven't, I kept thinking one of these days I'll get into that. I'm still very confused about when to use the air fryer function versus the convection oven. For when it was
that
new,
one,
I was using air fryer all the time, and now I realize I'd rather just take my time. Things are coming out better in the convection, or in the conventional oven settings.
We've got the greatest scientific minds of our era trying to understand the difference between convection, air fryer, etc. And by the way, they're stumped.
Yeah,
absolutely stumped at this point. Yeah, we must have the exact same oven, because mine allegedly has those features. I've never used any of them.
You just use bake mode.
I just use it like what I think of as a regular oven. I love that it has that enamel, that blue enamel inside. it fills me with, it sparks joy.
I know, I love
each
that
time
too.
Each time I open the oven. But short of that, I haven't done. Well, here's something. A while ago, I haven't had her come by in a while, but I started hiring someone on the sort of rare occasion to come over and actually like just do a little bit of house cleaning at my house. I'm a pretty tidy guy, but what I don't naturally think to do is deep clean and clean in all of these little nooks and crannies of my house. And so what usually happens is this person comes over, and I'm a little sheepish when she comes over because I wonder if she thinks like, is this a prank? Because the house is totally clean, right? There are no dishes in the sink. There's no but then what she does is she goes around, she steams the floor.
Oh, geez.
She does something where after she's like vacuuming, it's a hardwood floor. It's the cleanest I've ever seen a hardwood floor. And she cleans out the inside of the stove, and it's super duper clean. So for now, but again, this is maybe once a month, not even that, because I've been traveling a lot. But like I also, if you want to know, this is so bad. I really hope my mom doesn't hear this. I love you, Mom. I love you so much. But usually when this person would come by would be on a Friday. That's the part of their schedule that I'm in. And a lot of times that Friday would also be a Friday that my parents were passing through town and we're going to like stay for a couple of nights. And I kind of feel like I don't want to get the house cleaned, like really cleaned right before my parents show up, because they are basically feral and it will be a waste of the deep cleaning. Because everything will be like just so, and then deep cleaned, and then all of a sudden it's just a woohoo party going on. There's just like, I feel like when my parents are, I feel like when they come into my house, because oftentimes I'm not there. I might be doing the show with you. I might be already out of town, and they'll come through. I feel like the first thing they do when they get into my house is they move every single thing by half an inch. Like they make it a goal to just go and just slightly move everything. Like, hey, oh, that chair usually goes in this direction. What if we turned it around? What if we, and that thing, they just move everything. I think it's mostly my mom, honestly, but they just like every single thing in the house gets slightly adjusted in some weird way that I then have to go back through and move it back to the way I like it.
I swear this is plot of a Thurber book or something like that. Or am I thinking of Roald Dahl or something where people are driving
Somebody
people crazy
is being driven,
just by like changing things a tiny, tiny bit?
Yes. This exactly, like it's this kind of thing designed to make me go insane because everything is just a little bit not how I left it, or a little bit messed with. So what the reason that I haven't had this person come by for the last couple of times has been because she was going to come by on the day or the day before my parents were going to be there and staying over, and I was like, I don't want to waste it. It's like for me the perfect expression of having this person come by and clean my house is, she does this before I'm going to be home by myself for a week. That's what I want.
No, that's nice.
I want to just be like enjoying it. I want to be like going, golly, it's clean around. Gosh, there is no dust anywhere. I paid for it. I want to be able to enjoy it. So, but she does clean out the oven, and man, that thing is spotless.
Okay. That's interesting. So you must have, we had a housekeeper very briefly in Los Angeles, and we had lived in a relatively small apartment, like 2-bedroom apartment or something, but it was just nice. I think she did very basic things. She'd come in and just do what you just think of as basic housekeeping. You know what I mean? She'd clean the floors, hardwood floors as well. One of the things I liked is, even though I keep my spaces really neat anyway, if you do have a little pile of something, the pile had to be moved to clean underneath it anyway, so that you come back and everything is like especially tidy as well as like wiped down and clean. But when you hired this person, did you have to have like kind of a conversation, say, what I'm looking for is, I got that stuff, I got the counters, I got the main stuff, I need you to do the more nitty gritty stuff like the oven? Because like I don't think like our housekeeper ever like went in the oven or anything like that.
I think I said to her, I'm pretty tidy, but I'm not good at a lot of like I said, detail stuff. So she cleans the sink out really, really well.
Yeah, that's good.
Because again, that's the thing. There's not, and what I try to do is make sure that I don't, because she's only there for like maybe an hour, right? So I try to make sure that I have not left out anything that's going to take up time out of the hour for something that is not a good use of this person's time. So for instance, I don't want her or need her anywhere near any dishes situation, whether it's the dishwasher, whether it's dishes in the drying rack, whether it's dirty dishes. I have a system for that. Also, all of my dishes go in very specific places in the cabinetry, in the cabinets. And that's a whole other thing. Like, I just know the system because I set it up. I don't want someone else to be standing there like looking up into the cabinets trying to figure out what the system is. So I try to make sure that I've removed all the stuff that I do on the regular. I try to make sure it's all done so that what's left for her to work on is, again, stuff like steam cleaning the floor or really getting the sink, because I have these stainless steel like undermount kind of like farmhouse kind of sinks, like it's 2 sinks, and I try to keep them clean. This is just turning into spotless now. I try to keep them generally pretty clean, but there's always I could do it much better. And like I said, she's a professional. She knows what she's doing. It's also one of those things where, I mean, I don't know if it's inappropriate or not the amount of money this person charges is $25 an hour, which I feel is too low.
That's
like
incredibly affordable.
It's wild. It's like, and so why
doesn't she live with you?
I asked, and she politely declined. I said I basically was like, how much do you charge? She said 25. I said, that seems kind of low to me. She goes, no, that's just what I charge. I was like, okay. So now I always
That's cool. You said that to her.
Well, I'm just thinking.
No,
what
I
people
appreciate
need
that.
too.
I think I would too. She's
driving to my house in a truck. It's got to eat gas.
Yeah.
And
you're tipping though. You're leaving a big tip, I'm sure.
Well, that's what I'm doing now on Venmo. By the way, my Venmo is private, but if anybody saw it, they'd be like, why is Luke giving this random lady $100 every 3 Fridays? And it's because I'm like, I am definitely trying to make up for, for what I think is her charging too low of amount by tipping her. But I guess my point in that is, and this has sort of come up before on the show, somehow this feels related but not related to Zohran Mamdani, actually. This idea of like a living wage and also the work that people have to do. A lot of people have to do in a city environment or even outside of a city. But it's weird to me that this is one of those things where you can hear it in my voice, my discomfort around talking about it, because I feel like it's the bougiest thing I've ever done in my life. And it involves me paying somebody $50 potentially, like if she was there for 2 hours, or if she was there for an hour and change, and I'll round it up to 50 or whatever it is. It's probably $50, probably once a month when it's all said and done, and yet it feels like the kind of thing that I need to be so careful around talking about. I feel so, because we didn't grow up with anything like that. I have never in my adult life ever hired someone to do any kind of cleaning at my house on the regular, and there's so much other stuff that I spend $50 on. I don't know why this is the one thing that makes me feel like I'm in the 1%, and I have to be like, I'm like in weirdly embarrassed about it as a topic. I have to keep saying how she's not there every week and how mostly I don't, and I'm even telling you how much I'm paying her so that you know that I don't know why this is a very uncomfortable thing for me to talk about, because I associate it somehow with being like a rich person.
I can't articulate it better than you, but I understand the discomfort there, and I would share it to a degree as well. I don't know if it's about I think it's the human connection. I said I can't be articulate about this, so why not keep talking? But
I'm listening.
But don't you feel like it has something to do not with how you're spending your money, but the fact that it's like you're spending it on this particular service that a human being. I think it has more to do with not the spending habits, but just the responsibility maybe that it's like, well, why can't I clean up my own messes or something? I feel like there's a psychology there that goes beyond just the money and just like, well, this is what rich people do, but also the idea of having people who are serving you in this way.
It's the closest thing that I would ever have to a butler or somebody who's like, I don't know if we use this term anymore, but like you said, a servant of some kind. Because every other job that you might hire someone to do in the home environment, it kind of makes instinctive sense. It's like childcare. Well, it's really, really, it's an intense thing to take care of children, and you might work outside the home. And so nobody thinks it's weird if somebody has childcare for their children when they're working or whenever they're doing whatever. Or I'm hiring, less now, but I was hiring people left and right to come build things at my house and fix things and whatever, because I don't know how to mud and tape sheetrock very well. And so that's like, Yeah, of course you hired someone for that.
Yeah.
Anything that
Yeah.
seems hard,
Yeah, good distinction.
we hire people for,
Yeah.
and we don't. It's not like, oh yeah, you had to hire a plumber. Yeah, my sink was backed up. You had to hire a plumber. It doesn't feel like at that point you've abdicated your responsibility in life. But there's this one thing which is like, yeah, I didn't really feel like cleaning my toilet properly, so I'm paying someone maybe not enough money because that's the circumstance of their life and they're here doing that. Like there's something, you're right, there's the human connection with that, and also like the human decision making, I guess, process to say, yeah, I'd rather spend $25 than, and by the way, I want to be also very, very clear. If you think I haven't at least given the toilet a pretty good once over before this person gets there, you do not know me. I would sooner die than have this person get to my house, clean the toilet, and be like, ugh, this guy.
Well, you're not taking out the
gross.
toilet brush and using toilet cleaner.
am.
You mean really? Because
Not a
how
toilet
can you
cleaner.
improve on that then? Like, I would understand if you took a paper towel or a balled up thing of like toilet paper and sort of did some preliminary wiping around the rim just in case it had accumulated anything, and just like trying to make it seem not gross. But if you're taking out a toilet brush and getting that thing wet, then nobody's going to improve upon that.
Very
anyway.
minimally. I'm not putting in any. You know what she's got that I really like? She's got, I don't know, one of those little it's like a sticky blue thing that kind of it's not 2000 Flushes Blue, which by the way, one of the greatest commercials for were they playing that in Ohio when you were a kid?
Was that the one that had the little sailor man in a boat in the back of the tank?
No.
You know what I'm talking
this
about,
was
right?
I don't think I know that
that's
one. This is the
awesome.
guy who invented it, and he's extolling the virtues of 2000 Flushes Blue because it's going to last for 2000 flushes. But he was always like, I'm David Marks, and I invented 2000 Flushes Blue. And then he's like flushing a toilet. And I always thought it was funny how he said 2000 Flushes Blue.
With a bit of an accent. Is that almost a New York accent?
Yeah,
or something?
it was some New York-y thing.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like it wasn't like he wasn't from Seattle, right? And I just always thought 2000 Flushes Blue was like the funniest thing when I was a kid. 'Cause
That
also it
does
was
ring a
toilet.
bell. I know that I don't think we had those kinds of things, that the stuff that you would either put, I think usually those would be discs that you would drop in the tank,
Yeah, a
right? And then
tablet
when you
of some kind,
flush
yeah.
it, then the water would be like this very artificially blue color. And we
Yes.
didn't have that, but I think like one of my grandparents did. I think Grandma Clink Clink did, Grandma Simsick.
I think they're a great
And
idea.
It's cool. I remember it was like so much fun when I was a kid. You couldn't stop flushing the toilet 2,000 times.
But what this gal does is she like sticks on a little. There's also this version of it where it's like a little gelatinous disc, and you've got an applicator that's like a long tube, and you stick it to the inside of the toilet bowl so that as the water comes through, it gets a little bit of this cleaning solution on it, and then over time the thing just like washes away and washes off. So she does a little bit more, like she's got the gloves on, she's going, probably up into the crevices. What I'm just trying to make sure is that she never has the experience of opening the toilet seat and just kind of like shuddering. Like I want to make sure that there's a minimal amount of any other kind of unpleasant visual indicators in that toilet.
So I just found something incredible here on YouTube, Luke. I don't know if you're familiar with YouTube. I
Please
wanted
let
to
it be
figure out.
2000 Flushes Blue.
No, I'm going to let you look that one up because I was like, who's this little sailor man that I remember floating in a boat in the back of commercials? And that's for Tidy Bowl. And he was the Tidy Bowl man. So I wanted to see if I could find a commercial. And I was able to find a montage of commercials, but it actually opens not with one of the original commercials, but a parody of the commercial, Luke, from none other than Mama's Family, I believe here.
Oh man, Vicki Lawrence.
Yes, or I think this is Mama's Family. Let's take a listen to this. It'll start with whatever this parody is, and it looks like in this version she opens up the tank of her toilet, and the Tidy Bowl man is in there in his little boat, but he's also got a stand-up bass for some reason. So we're gonna start with the parody, and then it'll roll into the real one, I think. Could this just be the Carol Burnett show? I think it wasn't Carol Burnett in Mama's Family.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
I
I'm
think
just
Mama-
confusing the two.
Well, wasn't she? Oh, this is going to be bad. I always thought that Mama was a character that was on the Carol Burnett show, but wasn't that also Vicki Lawrence? And then it was its own show that was just all Mama's Family, like maybe almost a spin-off from the Carol Burnett show?
So that was Vicki Lawrence was on the Carol Burnett show. Is that why I get them confused?
I think so.
Because I don't know the
again,
difference
this is-
between Vicki Lawrence and Carol
Carol
Burnett.
Burnett.
In fact, I couldn't even keep them both in my
They're
head. at the same
definitely
time.
different people.
Okay.
Carol Lawrence or Carol Burnett I called them the same person. I combined them into one person. So is this What are we? Are you bailing on this?
No, I'm not
The
going to
audio?
bail. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to
Okay.
play it for you, but I
Okay.
just need to figure.
Good.
So I did just go to Wikipedia, though. Mama's Family, American sitcom,
Okay.
starring Vicki Lawrence as Mama.
Okay.
The series
Okay.
is a spin-off of the recurring series of comedy sketches called The Family, featured on The Carol Burnett Show and Carol Burnett and Company. The sketches led to the television film Eunice, and finally the television series. So they were sketches.
We
So
got
it
a lot
was
of that
Vicki
right,
Lawrence.
by the
You're
way.
right that it was Vicki Lawrence, but who am I seeing here? I think I'm seeing Carol Burnett. So I think what I'm seeing here
Okay.
is a Carol Burnett sketch. I really feel like I should have just played a commercial, not the parody of this. But I'm in too deep now. She hears something. I think she hears this music. I think it's diegetic. And now she lifts up the toilet tank lid, and she sees...
I'm the man from Tidy Bowl.
Okay, now she flushed the toilet and the scene ends, which I guess if you flush the toilet, that does sort of screw the Tidy Bowl guy because he's not in the toilet bowl, he's in the tank. So what
Right.
does happen to him when he's flushed? That's a really
It's
good
like
question.
he's in a. Yeah, he's like in a. I guess he's just got to avoid that drain, right?
I guess so.
He's
just gotta,
living with the alligators.
He's got to spread out his arms and legs and try so
Yes,
hard not
like-
to end up in the bowl because that's rough stuff. All right, let's get to the actual commercial here that follows this.
Okay.
I don't know how chopped and screwed this is. I picked the wrong video, man.
I'm fed up with scrubbing.
Excuse me, but you need Tidy Bowl. Here.
Oh, it's you, the Tidy Bowl man. Will this help?
Sure. With each flush, Tidy Bowl releases strong cleaners that help keep toilet bowls stain-free.
How do I know Tidy Bowl's cleaning?
The sparkling color tells you that it's working hard. Tidy Bowl's powerful and safe on plumbing.
That's great.
Comes in lemon fresh blue or pine scented green. With Tidy Bowl, you'll scrub less.
Safe on plumbing, too.
Yeah, you know, lemon blue.
Oh, the classic. Andrew, I'm looking at this now, this Tidy Bowl stuff.
Yeah.
They were not playing this in the Pacific Northwest, or I was not watching during the right time. This is totally new to me and fascinating. This is a major pop culture blind spot for me. This guy standing in a boat next to this basically upside down jug
Yes.
of cleaning solution that's going to slowly let itself out into the toilet water supply.
Can I ask you a question? It's a little bit of a personal question. Does it make you want to buy
Yeah.
a tiny boat? It kind of makes you want to buy a tiny boat, doesn't it?
Very, very possibly. Okay, now this is not going to pay off, but can I just? I've found 2,000 Flushes
Yeah,
Blue. Okay, and I don't know if this is again. I think this is the commercial, but here we go. Let me play it for you here.
These blue toilet bowl cleaners only last about 6 weeks. 2,000 flushes blue lasts up to 4 months. Drop in 2,000 flushes blue and it cleans and keeps the water blue up to 4 months. 2,000 flushes blue or original clear.
I believe that's Al Eisen of 2,000 Flushes Blue fame.
Can you play
And
that
he looks-
same one again? Because it sounded like he said 6 squeaks, which I kind of like as a measurement of time, even though I know that that's not what he actually said. Did you
Hold on,
already
let me
close
see.
it out?
I did, but luckily the internet, like the North, remembers. And it's going to take me back to where I was a second ago. But yeah, he was sort of, to me, he was spiritually connected to the, I'm not only the president, I'm also a client or whatever. I'm not only a client, I'm
Yes,
also the
yes.
president,
Hair
the Hair
Club.
Club for Men
Yeah.
guy. Like these were like bald guys, probably from New York, who were kind of quirky. Here we go. This is back to our buddy, Al.
I invented something amazing. 2,000 flushes, blue plus bleach.
Oh, you know what? This is a this is a different
It
commercial.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was funny the way
Here
he
we
said
go.
6 weeks.
Here we go.
These blue toilet bowl cleaners only last about 6 weeks. 2,000
6
flushes
weeks.
blue lasts up to
Yeah,
That's the
that is
sixth
weird.
movie in the Chipmunks movie.
2,000 flushes blue lasts up to 4 months. Toilet bowl cleaners only last about 6 weeks.
Only lasts about 6 weeks. I wonder how Al Eisen's doing. I mean, I have a feeling Al Eisen might be a was. Just looking at him on video here. Also, I don't want to get into talking about bodies and hair and things like that, but he really was from an era where guys of a certain age were, I think, more bold. I feel like the era of the comb over. Don't you think that the world of the comb over has really come to an end? I think particularly for kind of guys of a certain age.
Yeah, because
Like,
is he
I think
combing over in this? Is that what you're saying?
so much. I'm saying he
yes,
has the
yeah.
classic. He's got the classic comb over where it's like he's got his hair is gray. It's very thin on top, but then he's grown it super long. But then he's combing it over. But like it just so happens that I froze it. I'll send you this as a show pic, Andrew. Maybe if we don't already have one.
Sure.
It just randomly froze it on YouTube in this exact moment where it's like this comb over is fooling absolutely nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I never understood those.
And yet it was a real default setting for lots and lots of guys. And then I feel like I don't even know if the term comb over was in use, but it was just a known thing that a lot of older guys were going to do this with their hair. And then we started calling it a comb over. It started to become kind of this thing that we sort of joked about. Became a story when Rudy Giuliani finally like fixed his, which I don't know if you remember this, but you know, Giuliani was he cut his hair differently and it looked a million times better. And I think he might have been on Oprah. This is back when he was still America's mayor. See, everything comes back to New York City mayoral politics today. See what I'm doing here? Yeah. I remember he was on Oprah, and Oprah was complimenting how much better his hair looked, and he refused to admit that he used to have a comb over. He just kept trying to play it off as my barber cut my hair different. It was like... Listen, brah, it's all right. You had a comb over, no shade, but it looks a lot better now, and we all like it. But I remember it being a big story that Rudy Giuliani wasn't having his comb over anymore. And now I think because of just like, it's more acceptable for, you know, just to kind of keep your hair short, maybe even shave your head or whatever. There's different hair systems. There's lots of hair transplants now. This era of like a lot of guys of a certain age having this very unconvincing comb over, like you just don't see that. I was going to tell you about this. I was just in the weekly editorial meeting, the show meeting for CBS Sunday Morning over at the Broadcast Center. And it's, you know, it's a bunch of different people actually of all kinds of different ages, but there's certainly there's enough fellers of a certain age that work on the show or are involved with CBS stuff. None of them had comb overs. No comb overs. Nobody's combing over anymore.
No,
that would have been,
there would have been anybody. It looks worse.
There would have been three.
I'm sorry. It's like as I'm losing more and more hair, my only issue is when my hair gets longer and it gets like stringy and it exemplifies or it magnifies, I guess I should say, the baldness even more in a very unsettling way. And that's what a comb over is, right? It's like leaving. Are you taking photos of me of my bald head? I'm taking a photo
of of Al Eisen. No, I would never do that without your permission.
The show pic today is just going to be a huge close up of where I've got these two little patches of hair hanging on in front. Why won't you guys just go away like the rest?
If you rub some 2000 Flushes Blue on there, it'll die really quickly.
I just blew myself.
Yes, you did.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, for me, it's just like I can't shave my head because I also have a beard, and that's a consideration. And that's a lot of men do that, and they look good, but like, it's just, I don't think that would look good on me, shaved head, beard, and I don't want to lose the beard. If I lost everything, I would just be really upsetting looking for folks. I got to think about the other people's experiences as well.
I've told you this. You're not going to enjoy me. You're not going to enjoy this piece of feedback. So just try to tolerate it. Try to survive it. Try to get through it. But like one of the big takeaways from our TBTLathon week in Wisconsin, when we then did a meet and greet with a bunch of wonderful TBTL supporters and friends who came out to that like kind of barbecue thing. Yeah. I heard repeatedly from people, Andrew is much better looking in person than I expected based on how Andrew describes himself on the show.
Well, in a certain way that works, right? Because somebody did, I can't remember who it was, but somebody did say, you describe yourself as a troll. And they're like, you don't look that bad. I'm like, well, then I guess setting those expectations,
it's working.
It really works, right? But all of that is to say, yeah, the comb over look and again, everybody can make their own decisions. Like we were even talking the other day, like, there are people who wear wigs. And I'm sorry to use, I'm not saying this to dunk on him, but I just think like as a public figure, Rick Rizzs, the baseball announcer for the Seattle Mariners, I guess that's a toupee, right? I guess it's covering more and more and more. And the last photo I saw of him on the side, it like goes down and like, I'm not saying that to make fun of him. He can wear that. I think like my grandfather wore a wig, and I think he wore it like it was a hat, sort of. And so, if that's what makes you feel comfortable, that's what makes you feel comfortable. I'm not I'm not in any position to be making fun of people's fashion choices, if you would call it that. But having said that, it's not convincing. You don't look at him and say, wow, Rick really has a good head of hair. You know what I mean? Like literally anybody who sees him knows that he has a big thing of hair setting on top of his real head, and so to me it is an interesting decision. And I've told you before, I'm a little sensitive about I like to wear hats. I've worn hats my whole life, but my only sensitivity about my baldness is that I don't want people to think I'm purposely trying to hide it. And I'm just
right,
like,
which is known in some circles as hat fishing.
Exactly.
That's true. I didn't make
really?
that up.
Oh, I thought you were making that up right now.
It's sometimes I would see like women on, like TikTok or whatever that would say like they go on a date with a guy, he's wearing a hat the whole time, and then they find out on like the second or third date that he is balding or bald or whatever, and they call that colloquially hat fishing.
Yeah, and I do
instead of cat fishing.
And again, I can't weigh in on that world because I never dated in that, I'm not of that, or I wasn't of the age at the right time to be doing that, but I would not probably do that. Like if I can't,
no, you
it's
wouldn't.
so hard for me
I know
to imagine myself being on the apps. I just don't think. I think I would just be in my basement playing darts and just listening to podcasts by myself instead of with Genevieve. But like I would be very, I think, self-conscious about like if I'm hiding it all the time, at what moment does the real me come out? And that does seem like a pretty uncomfortable situation to put yourself into.
Mid lovemaking.
Here's Johnny.
Dramatically remove your mariner's hat. Speaking of this meeting that I was in, and I'll try to keep this quick because actually, you know what? Let's do this. Can we thank some donors?
Yeah, let's do that.
And then I'll just tell you about my experience because I haven't been in something like this in a long, long time, like a real actual staff meeting at a place that I really actually kind of work. And it was interesting.
Thank you, baby.
All right, let's do the donor thanks right now. This is where we take a little moment out of the show to thank some of the folks who are supporting this thing voluntarily. They've heard us pleading with them, reminding them that this is listener-supported podcasting, and they could have just been like, "Yeah, someone else will take care of it." They're not that kind of person. They're not somebody who just says like, "I've got mine, you better go get yours." They say, "Hey, a rising tide lifts all ships."
Even tiny little boats in the back of a toilet tank.
Just like the one that I'm saving up for. We want to thank Chad Norman in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
Hey, Chad, thank you as
That sounds
always.
very pleasant. Up there on that
And
mountain in
mountainous.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yep. Natasha Donovan is in Salt Spring Island, British Columbia. Now
Oh,
that
wow.
also sounds, I've never been there, Andrew, but I can tell you right now, that's friggin' beautiful.
Natasha, thank you for being our hurdy-gurdy gal.
Okay.
That was a Donovan.
Now you're
that
going
was
to need
a-
to unpack that. I get
was
that.
A Donovan reference.
Oh,
Hurdy-gurdy.
Donovan is the last
Donovan,
name.
Natasha Donovan.
It's right there.
Hurdy-gurdy
Thank you,
man.
Natasha.
Yeah.
I thought that was a Salt Spring Island reference maybe
Yeah.
he had written about. Have you heard of Tofino? If you haven't, Andrew, there will come a day where Genevieve is going to walk into the studio or some other part of the house where you are, and she's going to say, "We got to go to Tofino."
No, what is Tofino?
It is a absolutely beautiful little kind of area of British Columbia that's just renowned for its natural beauty. It's right there on the water. I think it's on Vancouver Island. I don't know if it's its own island, like near Vancouver, or if it's just an extension of it. But it's like when I see pictures of it, I'm like, I need to move to Tofino immediately. I've never even been there, but I'm ready to move there. And knowing that Genevieve and I are similar with these things sometimes, at least we get. I feel like Tofino's going to like cycle through everyone's Instagram page again at some point, and you're going to hear from Genevieve that you guys should think about making a trip to Tofino.
Well,
So
you know
just-
what? Genevieve came into the studio and told me that we're going to, in January, something that is advertised as BBC, the big black comedy show in Las Vegas. Genevieve is planning a trip for us to Vegas in January for our anniversary, and she was looking at all kinds of shows we could possibly go to. I thought we might go to one of those, like, with the high step and kicks kind of showgirls kind of situation. I don't know,
Oh,
chorus
sure,
line. I don't know
like-
what you call that stuff. But instead, she said, "Hey, we're going to the Big Black Comedy Show." I said, "What is that?" And it's Vegas's freshest comedy production. Get ready to laugh out loud. But when I opened it up, it looks like, and I'm pretty sure if you Google this, Luke, I'm pretty sure it's represented by an AI comedian. I'm pretty sure the face of this. And the BBC is ridiculously large, which I believe is more than a double entendre in their advertising of this. I believe it is marketed specifically towards adult humor. and they won't say anybody who's actually part of the
Performing, so that's good.
So it's just going to be, kind of, and then when you watch the video, they don't identify any of the people who are in it. I don't know if you're on it. Is that that fella is AI, right? Like,
yeah, I want to be careful with how I talk about this for all of the very obvious reasons, mainly being that Caitlin Woodleaf of Eagle, Idaho, has asked me to be careful when I talk about BBC comedy shows.
Yes, right.
But like, I'm having a hard time understanding what it all about this advertisement worked on Genevieve, because it is, you're right, absolutely a guy who is AI in front of a brick wall. There's also AI. He is so unconvincing as someone
as
who
a
is
human,
funny,
as a
like
humanoid.
It's as a human, like it's the opposite of. It doesn't even get close to looking like something that would be funny. And then you go through and you're not able to actually see, because I thought when you said the Big Black Comedy Show, I thought, okay, it's going to be a selection of black comedians. Andrew's going to start naming them. I'll recognize at least a handful of the names, and I could see that being a really fun night. This looks like something absolutely right out of AI hell, where
I am so excited to report back on this, Luke, because the little blurb
was this your
about
exact take?
What's that?
Was this also your take on the situation?
Well, I was just I thought it was. So here's the deal, and I really don't want to in any way like kind of make it sound like I'm throwing Genevieve under the bus. I've never been to Vegas before. Genevieve plan any trip that I take. Genevieve plans down to the last detail. I don't do anything, so I definitely don't want to make it sound like I'm unappreciative. I'm actually looking forward to this just to like see what something like this is, because again, like there's no headliners. I originally thought it was going to be the same as you, like, oh, these will be some folks that I've heard of and then some folks I haven't. But their description, I love this. The Big Black Comedy Show is Vegas's newest and funniest production. They might not be household names like Dave Chappelle, Cat Williams, or Kevin Hart, but this rotating
but
cast
they are black.
of up-and-coming comedians are every bit as hilarious. Now, do you think that is true? They are every bit as hilarious as Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle, and Kevin Hart. Cat Williams, by the way, I was thinking about him during the show yesterday because he had a dream of buying a Washington State decommissioned
He did.
ferry,
You know what?
And he didn't buy it.
I failed you as a co-host and a scary monster to mention that when we were talking about buying ferries, that yes, Cat Williams was on the record as wanting to buy a ferry of his own.
In Washington, when he was stuck here, I think because he hit somebody in the head with a microphone, and then because of legal issues, he couldn't leave for a while. So he started reading the Seattle Times, heard about a decommissioned ferry, and then floated on Twitter that he might be interested in buying that ferry. I don't think it ever happened.
The thing about this, there will probably be some comedians that night who go on to have really bright futures, but the fact that this show is specifically designed so that there are no specific comedians being promoted ever, that what is being promoted is that their skin will be a certain color. That will be the number one KPI for anyone performing that night, and that seems to me like a way to put some comedians up who will have, let's just say, varying abilities of being funny and being comedic. What I would do if I wanted to see a comedy show in Las Vegas, this is a real thing because I'm now just like scrolling through Vegas.com, I would go see Carrot Top. I mean, I think Carrot Top is kind of having a moment where he, obviously he was very popular for a time. Then he became kind of like the punchline, the kind of joke of what you don't want to be as a comedian. And then I started to see a little bit of a rehabilitation of his reputation, or like a rethinking of him, where I start seeing him on like Joe Rogan. This is before the Rogan thing was politicized. You just see Carrot Top kind of showing up on podcasts, and he's actually like kind of a likable dude. He's just kind of like, he was basically a victim of being a prop comic and then just his own success, being on the Tonight Show a lot and then having a Vegas thing, which was kind of considered uncool at a time. I feel like seeing Carrot Top in Vegas is the most Vegas thing you can do if you want to go see Vegas-y comedy.
First of all, it's interesting that you skipped over a huge part of the Carrot Top story, which is at some point he got swole as hell, and I feel like that had something to do with the reinvention of Carrot Top as well. Not that everything is
I think that was part of the fall of Carrot Top was like, what is going on with this dude?
Yeah.
At least that was my brain's reaction was like, okay, he's out there in Vegas just absolutely getting shredded, and still like pulling out a golf club that has a urinal on it or something, so you could pee while you're golfing.
I gotta be honest with you, and this might, I could take this back down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But I am more interested in finding out what this show we're going to is going to be like than going to a Carrot Top show. Like, the idea of going to Carrot Top doesn't sound... If Genevieve had come in my office yesterday and said, we're going to see Carrot Top, I would be like, oh, really? This, I think, is so funny because there's clearly a double entendre going on here that Genevieve was fully unaware of because she's an innocent child. And so I had to explain that to her, that this is going to be kind of adult comedy, too, that I don't think that she's was kind of realizing. I think for her, it was like, we're doing this Vegas adventure, which is very un-Andrew and Genevieve.
And I love that you're doing it, by the way.
While we're doing it, like, why not just jump into the sides of us that are doing things that we would never do, and this just, she's like, and also I think affordability had something to do with it as well. She's like, why spend tons of money on something, I would assume that Carrot Top would be more expensive because he's
not a lot more.
Maybe not.
They're on the same website, and you'd be surprised. There's a lot of shows to fill for old Carrot Top.
Right. Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that, but I honestly, for whatever it's worth, I saw this, and I saw this AI comedian in front of a brick wall,
God.
And I am way more curious about this. Like, I am less curious about what Carrot Top will bring. I mean, I guess there's a chance that I could end up being surprised and charmed by him. I'm not even trying to throw Carrot Top hate out there. I mean, you're the one who introduced him into evidence. I'm not trying to speak ill of your favorite comedian, but this one has a lot more mystery around it to me.
Oh, it sure does.
So I'll have some.
It's a literal and figurative black box, and I will be very, very curious to hear how the show went, and also if you unwittingly became part of the show.
Yes. Oh, wow. That had not occurred to me.
There is a very high degree of possibility around that, my friend.
Oh,
and
that's
that would
introducing something. Into
that would be really, I would really, really be interested in how that all goes.
I got to raise that to Genevieve because I got to say, like, that,
do not sit near the front, my friend.
No, that's a really good call. That should put panic in me. Like, when we went to the Magic Castle, somebody called on me a couple of times because we were sitting in the front row, and Genevieve said it was kind of embarrassing because I was giving out that, like, do not talk to me. I don't want to be a part of this thing. And then he picked on me, and then I wasn't game enough. The whole thing, like, I ruined the energy of this guy's show, and he finally moved on. But, like, I do not like that. But again, in this situation, I sort of feel like LA, I lived LA. That was just an evening there. I sort of feel like Vegas Andrew doesn't have to be accountable to regular Andrew. You know what I mean? Like, nobody knows who. I just feel like there's going to be such a sense of anonymity for me. And did I say that funny? Anonymity?
No.
Yeah.
No, you said it right.
Sorry, I'm high as hell right now. Do you know that the kids are calling it gardening, by the way?
Yes.
Hannah Brooks Olsen told me that.
It took me so long to figure out what that meant because I would see people on TikTok and they would be talking about doing gardening, and I didn't immediately put that together as what they were talking about, and I just thought, well, maybe they're into, like, growing
radishes,
things, and then I had to finally, cause, like, eventually I kept seeing it in ways that I knew I know you're not talking about, like, you were just out growing tomatoes. It's got to mean something else. And then I finally was like, oh, green garden. That's okay. That's getting high.
And I think Hannah said it's part of that TikTok language of getting around any kind of censorship or flags of mentioning drugs or the other things you can't mention.
Right. We can do all that here.
But
we
anyway.
can say whatever we want. Thanks to Matthew Morita of Kapaea, Hawaii.
Hey,
I'm going to.
Oh, Matthew, it's our bud.
Yeah, it is. By the way, I hope I'm reading that right. If you notice, Andrew, in the notes, our system seems to really be struggling with.
Oh yeah.
The writing of, and I guess maybe the use of apostrophe in Kapaea. So I'm hoping that
the spreadsheet did something.
Hoping I said that right. Matthew, appreciate you so much, man. Also, we appreciate Lexi Janacek of Grand Rapids, Minnesota. I told you on my theme of, Grand Rapids, Minnesota.
I almost corrected you because I wasn't looking at it, and I was like, oh yeah.
I mean, that's what it says there.
Twist, twist ending, yeah.
No, but
we got
when I read that, Andrew, I thought I was reading Michigan. I mean, I guess I read it right because I'm just such a professional.
Yeah.
How much longer do you need me to talk while you're sending that email?
Right, exactly.
But like, I was thinking Grand Rapids, Michigan when I was saying Grand Rapids, Minnesota. I wonder who had it first. I wonder who wore it better.
Well, I don't want to get into judging who wore it better.
No.
But anyway, we do
but what we
appreciate
can
it.
say is Grand Rapids, Minnesota is the place because it's where Lexi Janacek is. Thanks, Lexi. And then Lindsay Randall is out there in Nashville, Tennessee, home of the very, very competitive Vanderbilt Vandy's football team, which is really fun to see. They are really good this year. They have this really fun quarterback. Love that Vandy is doing well. Love that that we've got fans in Nashville, and just love that, Andrew, this is a thing that is still working. When I go to these, when I make my like maybe yearly or a couple of times a year like little appearance at the CBS headquarters at the broadcast center, I'm always like, people are, how you doing? You know, like the other producers there and the folks, you know, the editors and the like. I'm always like, fine. Are you still? They never know how exactly to try to understand TBTL. Here's what they know about TBTL.
I'm embarrassed that they know anything about TBTL, which is not a good sign.
I try to keep it to an absolute minimum. What they know about TBTL is that when we're filming things, I'm a real pain in the ass with my schedule, because every other correspondent that they go out with is like, I work for CBS Sunday Morning. I'm here to film. You tell me where and when. And I'm always like, could we roll at 2? Or could we roll at 6 a.m. and then stop rolling at 10 and then restart rolling at 1? Like, I have a lot of like holds on my day when I'm out there filming with them. But it's like, I can just tell that, like, I think people are generally positive about it. They think it's kind of cool that I have this podcast, but they don't really understand it. And a little surprised. Like today, I was there at this meeting and I said, I got to get out of here because I got to go do my podcast. And they were like, oh, wow, you're still doing that. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And we're still doing it thanks to the donors. So thank you all for making TBTL possible. All right. I'm not going to even fire the whole top story sound effect thingamajig. I'm just going to tell you that I was in this. I didn't realize, actually, this shows you how not plugged into the world of CBS broadcasting I am. I didn't actually realize that there is this editorial meeting on Wednesdays. And what it is everybody who works on the show who wants to be there, I guess, who cares about how they're perceived by the bosses, which would be my way of saying, Andrew, this is the first one of these I've attended in like 12 years. First and only.
How big is this? That's been my question this whole time.
It's big. Well, first of all, it's a conference room that's totally full of people, and people are standing around the outside of the conference table, and then it goes all the way outside into the hallway. It spills out, and then there's a big screen, and on Zoom, there's like 40 more people on Zoom.
Wow.
Many of them are at their desks in the building, but you can't physically go into the conference room is too small for the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's everybody's represented. I mean, there's people in Europe, there's people overseas and other places who are like, God knows what time it is for them. But like, basically what happens is this is the meeting after the pieces have been selected that are going to be in this week's show. The producers and sometimes correspondents are then kind of, in a way, repitching the stories to the bosses. These shows are in the schedule, so they've made it that far. But now is like a kind of almost like a redo where the producers have to kind of like sell the bosses on why this story is actually interesting and good and why it should continue to have the amount of time it's budgeted for. That's like the big fight. And so, it's obviously the kind of thing that I should know about. I should have been going to these forever. But like, my relationship with this job has always been, I'm going to go to the place they're asking me to go and interview the people, and I'll let the producers handle a lot of the like going to meetings stuff, a lot of the like advocating for the pieces. Like, I sort of liked a little bit. I kind of like the idea of being like, and by the way, with all the stuff that's been going on, with all of the like, installing stuff. Barry Weiss with the editorial and all the stuff that's been going on with CBS, it's been mildly relieving to just be like, yeah, I don't know. People are like, oh, how's it going for you? I'm like, I don't know, because I don't interact with any of the stuff that isn't the making of the TV stories. That's just pretty much what I do. And then the rest of it, I just let the chips fall wherever they're falling. And that's been probably a way of me just kind of burying my head in the sand. It was interesting to be in the meeting where decisions are being made and to realize that for, again, however long I've been doing this correspondent thing for them, however many Emmys I've won, Andrew, and it's been a lot, I've got to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been in this meeting once just going, here's why this is a good story. Like, that's mind-blowing to me that I never asked, hey, how do I get on the meeting? Because nobody ever made me. Again, there's producers that are on the meeting, and they're often on there they're advocating for the piece that's going up on a given week. So it's not mandatory attendance, but the fact that I didn't, just in the interest of professional development, think I should try to be on this more, just as I will tell you what it has created is a certain sense of mystique around it.
Yeah, right.
Because the way the meeting starts, I'm standing out and I'm thinking like I'm gonna watch like 5 minutes of this and then I'm gonna bounce because I got to do TBTL back here at the hotel. But I'm standing like out in the hallway and I hear my name. I hear the boss of the whole show, a guy named Rand, go, and we have Luke Burbank here. And everyone turns around. And when I tell you, Andrew, how mortified I was, like, please don't everyone look at me. I walk into, so then they like, get in here. So now I'm going into the inner sanctum. I'm now invited into the conference room.
You were kind of more in the hallway crew.
I was so on the periphery of this. I was not only in the hallway, I was down the hall around the corner. Because I was like, there are real professionals here who come into these offices 5 days a week and work really hard to make this. And I am just kind of like a carpetbagger who's passing on through. I don't want to be taking up a spot. I don't want to be. Somehow it felt to me like I was injecting myself into something I didn't belong in, which is funny because I work there and I do put stories on television. But so they're like, get in here. And I kind of push my way into the conference room and applause goes up.
Oh my gosh.
And they were excited. They're like,
you.
we have two correspondents here because Mo Rocca was also there. It was a big deal to have two correspondents, I was told.
Wasn't Mo originally that kind of your connection too?
Yes, 100%. And he'll never let me forget it. It's really, honestly, it's kind of messed up. I think it was all a hustle.
So did he sort of like in this moment? So Mo kind of puts his arm around your neck, sort of, so it almost gives you a little noogie in front of everybody, like kind of.
Yeah, like you got to stop taking up all my airtime, buddy. Remember, I'm the one who. He's kidding a little too hard. That's classic Mo. If you've seen him on TV, you know that's his energy.
He's kind of over the top, right? Isn't he sort of like
and very butch? He's over the top and very kind of a bully, really. A lot of physical hazing. But so then I'm in the inner sanctum. Now I can't just like leave. That's why I was texting you. I'm still at CBS. We're going to need to push this recording back because I'm now in the meeting. I can't leave early.
Yeah, that's a lot of attention.
Yeah, and but this is the thing, Andrew. I'm enjoying the feeling of actually being in the room where the decisions are happening and just like learning stuff about this show and this job that I've had for a long time that I just never even took the time to learn. Just kind of like one of the things is so each story gets presented as to here's what's good about it. Here's why it deserves to remain in the show rundown. And then there's some housekeeping things like, okay, what is the title going to be? And they were having this big, I don't think this is too much talking out of school, because there's like, there's a title that's showing on the screen when the story is introduced. And the debate was, there is, as of right now, there's going to be a profile of an actress, an Irish actress, who I guess is becoming a big deal, but who I hadn't heard of. And it's a profile that Seth Doan is doing. He's our correspondent in Italy. He does a lot of European stuff. And the question was, this actor, I don't remember her name, but she's like very big in Europe and in Ireland, but is in America maybe not as well known. Although like about half of the meeting knew of her, half of us didn't. And the whole debate was around if it was disrespectful to this actor to say introducing so-and-so as the title card. So we're going around and around about, is it okay to say introducing the title card, introducing her versus in conversation with? Because to say introducing her is to act like people don't know who she is. And maybe that's just our blind spot. So believe it or not, as geeky as it is, I love these conversations. Like this is the stuff I miss about actually working on a staff at a show. And everybody knows everybody and everybody's got like inside jokes. And our editor, Emanuele's got this insanely cute dog that he brings around that I didn't even know he brought around. And everyone's playing with the dog. I think the dog was named Apollo, maybe. Anyway.
That's a great name.
And we're just like, it's just fun being in the room with colleagues. Like, again, I just didn't realize that I really kind of missed that for about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And in about the 26th minute is when somebody, very nice guy actually, from, I don't know if it's technically IT or not, it's some division of Paramount that controls the system that we use to book crews, to book, a camera person and a sound person. I don't do this, but if I did, if I was a producer, you'd used to be in something called SharePoint.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like,
that's a Microsoft
we're just
thing,
here to
right? SharePoint.
We're here to let everyone know that we are phasing out SharePoint and we're bringing in It's like called like Wolf Edge or something. It literally has a wolf in it. And we're transitioning to Wolf Edge. And here's the system and here's what we're going to do. And starting on this date, and there is mandatory training. And I tell you, Andrew, I could not get out of that conference room fast enough. Like I experienced every kind of experience that I've had in a conference room in my life. One of really enjoying the camaraderie of my colleagues, enjoying kind of seeing the process and even getting to have a small say in the process as we were all kind of debating some stuff. And then also just being like, please don't make me go to the mandatory meeting about transitioning from SharePoint to Wolf Edge or Wolf Ledge or whatever.
Wolf Ledge definitely sounds like a casino that you would be interested in.
That or a show on the BBC that I'd only be getting limited access to through my stupid BritBox app, which, by the way, I cannot highly unrecommend that enough. Don't get fooled, people. If you, like me, are a public radio listener and you hear these BritBox ads, it is not what it is cracked up to be. It's the leavings. It is just random leftover episodes that they, for some reason, feel like letting us watch for $10 a month or whatever it is. But no, it was a kind of a, you know what else actually was just, this is like super duper full disclosure and probably oversharing. What was really nice about being there was it felt like it usually feels when I'm there, because I've been hearing reports, we had layoffs last week. There's all this stuff with the editorial. There's a lot that makes me have apprehension about the future of the show, or maybe my future at the show or whatever. And just being there with everybody and seeing all of these folks that I've known and worked with for many years, and just like going through an editorial meeting and then finishing up with a couple of awkward jokes as we break camp and we all move on to go do our thing that we're doing.
How long was the whole thing? About an hour?
An hour, probably.
Okay, yeah.
It felt deeply normal to me. Like it felt like a normal meeting that happens at a TV show that's not getting canceled.
It didn't feel like a chilling effect, which is...
No, there was no... I was wondering, and again, this is really getting into like a lot of behind the curtain stuff, but like, I've been out on the West Coast mostly, and I'm like reading things in the New York Times about what's happening to the network and the show and all of this, and it's like, well, what's the vibe like? And I've just been like, oh, actually... Vibe is the vibe. The vibe is exactly like it always is. It's people are working, people are putting stories together. We're putting the show up each week. It didn't feel funereal, which was like a massive relief to me. Just like the energy was the same energy that I'm used to, and I sure hope that that's kind of how things stay. Just like us getting to keep doing the job that we like doing and playing playing this for people. I was trying to make like a joke. Kept getting stepped on, and then I finally just had to abandon it at the end when they were saying, so after we had this whole debate about if it should be introducing this actress, they were talking about whatever Wolf Ledge or Wolf something, and then they were talking about how it should be, how people should find out about it or whatever, and I said, is introducing Wolf Ledge disrespectful to Wolf Ledge? But everybody was talking, nobody heard it. Then Andrew, I really rolled the dice.
Don't. You tried it again.
I waited for another opening. I tried it again. Also, no one really heard it / checked it, registered it, and then I called it off.
Okay, good,
I just
good.
said,
I was going to be
no
like
mas.
somebody in the movie theater, like, don't go in there. Don't go in door number 3.
That's what I'd be saying before you go into BBC comedy. Don't go in.
There's a right way to rock and a wrong way to roll. You can't just listen to your soul. Just remember that life is number one. You can be having so much fun. Just remember that life is much fun. You can be number one.
All right, you probably have CBS stuff to do. You're in New York through the end of the week. Is this right?
No, I'm flying home tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Going to be cutting it close, too. It's going to be dangerous because, be careful, though.
You can't say
it's
dangerous
spicy.
anymore, can you?
I can't.
Can't
No,
say
that's ruined.
dangerous in the regular
honestly,
way.
if I'm going to lose a word, I can deal with it being dangerous. I don't think it was
Most
usually
people
in my
wouldn't even
lexicon.
notice. Yeah, you just say it
Or
quick
my
enough.
lifestyle.
Yeah, right.
But no, it's 100%. It's been Russell Wilsonatized. But no, I'm going to be recording some commentaries. One of these commentaries that I'm recording tomorrow, I don't hate. They're basically like tips and tricks for watching the Super Bowl or being at a Super Bowl party if you're not a football person.
Oh, okay.
But it's mostly just excuses to make jokes about how dumb I am and like and how superstitious I am and things like that. It's me laying out that jinxes are a real thing. So like, if you say that the person is definitely going to make the field goal, it means that they're going to miss it, and it's your fault. But if you say they're going to miss the field goal, they're also going to miss it, and it's your fault. It's a very complicated thing. So it's basically me just talking about mostly my football weirdness. So that'll be kind of fun. But yeah, I'm taping those tomorrow in the afternoon after Jane Pauley is done, whatever her deal is. I guess she needs to use the studio for some reason. And then I'm going to be doing one of those moves where it's like jump right in the taxi cab, head right to the airport, and hope that I make my flight. So we will see.
Genevieve's got me nervous. I got to fly to Ohio soon, and she's got me nervous saying there's TSA delays or anything. Have you clocked any
I
of
did
this?
not experience that flying out here, for what it's worth. I think it's very hit and miss. I've heard that in Texas, maybe it's even Houston specifically, they've had some real issues of late. But I think that, listen, hats off to everybody at the federal level who is working and not getting paid. I mean, I just don't understand how this is happening in this country, but also how folks are trying to make it through. And, the fact that an airplane can take off right now safely and then land somewhere else safely so that I can do my stupid Super Bowl commentary is because people are working for no money right now. So thank you to those people, really and truly.
And it's a good reminder for me to be very gracious to those folks as
Yes.
I'm going through the TSA security. All right, let's do some Blurs Days. This is where people wish themselves or others a happy birthday message. You can send me your Blurs Days. Andrew at tbtl.net is my email address. Put Blurs Day in the subject line so that I don't miss it. And we are doing these, if you're clocking these, we're doing these a day early today on
Yes.
a Wednesday so that I can get to the airport. So the first one comes from listener Jessica, who says, Happy Blurs Day to my amazing 11 Mark, who has been listening to TBTL with me for the past 15 years and even went to the live show in Philly with me.
Nice.
Nice. If Mark that was Mark's dog.
They let dogs into this hotel.
Yes, Astro. If
He's got that dog. Mark's got that dog in him.
Wait, it wasn't Astro.
Fam.
Apollo? Apollo. That was Apollo.
Oh,
we
Apollo,
just heard.
but
Yeah.
Astro was a famous dog, remember?
Yeah, that would be a good name for a dog, too.
Yeah,
like
I might- you know what?
2025. I think it's gone away, now it's come back.
A friend of mine in the early 2000s, he had a dog named Astro. That was a great dog name. From the Jetsons, right?
Yeah, now that you say that, I had some regret and then some non-regret with our cat Bingo. I really like the name Bingo for him. Meow. And there he is. Wow. Hello, Bingo. No. I need the mic now. And we named him Bingo immediately. I think we had the name maybe in the back of our head, and if we met a cat that seemed Bingo-ish, maybe go with that. Bongo was also in the running. But anyway,
was Bango in there?
I don't think Bango was in there, but
Bingo, Bango, Bongo.
When we brought him home, I think it was maybe that day or the next day, we noticed that he had we saw right away, but he's got this black circle just around his face, and it was a very distinct circle at the time because he's a cat that looks like a kind of a Siamese cat, but the black around his face was almost a perfect circle. And after we had named him Bingo and we're comfortable with that, at one point one of us said, we should have named him Spaceball. Because there was just something like Spaceball-y about his little round face, like a little moon face or whatever. Like, Spaceball would have been a great name for the cat. But then as time went on, that circle essentially has gone away. Like all of Bingo's little features as a kitten were much more distinct, and then as his hair grew out, now he's just sort of like, it's just a fade from the darkness to the lighter fur. So if we had named him Spaceball, it would have made absolutely no sense. So I actually spent a couple of weeks really regretting not naming him Spaceball, and now I'm so glad we didn't name him Spaceball, and now he's my little Bingo.
Yeah, he definitely looks like a Bingo.
He definitely looks like
and
a Bingo.
moves like a Bingo. Actually, he kind of moves like Jagger.
Right, yeah, he moves like a bongo. Did I finish Jessica's message? Did I even start it? Happy Blurs Day to my amazing 11 Mark, who has been listening to TBTL with me
that dog in
for
him.
the last 15 years and even went to the live Philly show with me. If Mark hasn't listened for a while, he always asks, how are the guys? Usually after making fun of my Tonight Pants or my TBTL Drops references. Anywho, here's to Mark, an amazing father and husband. Can't wait to foist more TBTL merch on you in years to come. Luke, we forgot to mention the merch.
Okay. Why don't we mention it now and later? Why don't we mention it? Well, maybe on Monday's show. We got merch, everybody. We got new merch.
We are excited about it. We have to wrap up the
I just
show.
keep forgetting it.
Yeah, we're supposed to mention this at the beginning of the show today. We created I'm not even going to say. Well, should we say what it is? Should we give a little hint?
Yeah,
or just
of
go
course.
to the merch store. Okay,
Well,
yeah.
The problem is I don't have my my special. I wish I had my music for what the new merch is referencing.
Oh, right. Well, I will just keep.
If I have my
If you
road
find it, I'll kill the music underneath
I've
me
got
right
it.
now. You got it?
I think I've got this here. Okay. So, if you remember, when we've been talking for more than an hour and I want to just start talking about some especially boring stuff, I have decided by a professional executive fiat to just start calling it the Badlands, and therefore I'm allowed to talk about whatever I want. And we said, we need like one of those kind of a Clint Eastwood Good, the Bad, and the Ugly songs for that. Anyway, we called it the Badlands, and whoa, sorry. I have the full one.
Yeah.
I've got the full one here. Just bear with me.
This is going well.
I think so. Why is it that why don't we sell more merch, Andrew? What's wrong with our approach? The fact that he has this, that El Ropo, the fact that El Ropo has that, he must have loved the Cisco Kid kind of reference, that joke so much that, it makes no sense to have that and then the El Ropo Good, the Bad, and the Ugly thing. He just put them together because he couldn't pick one. He couldn't decide which one was better. You know what I mean? Like, they're a very, very incongruous pair. Okay, so here we are in the Badlands, and guess what you can now buy at tbtl.net by going to the merch page at tbtl.net. You can buy T-shirts and mugs and water bottles and all kinds of fabulous stuff with the new TBTL Badlands logo on it.
El Ropo. El Ropo.
I think that it turned out really well, by the way, Andrew, and that was 100% because of you. Nice work on that.
The announcement worked out well. Oh no, the actual merch.
No,
oh yeah, the
merch,
logo.
the
Yeah,
merch.
no. I think people are. I'm sorry. I am so.
The thing we're announcing.
I am so confused as to what's going on now. Is it fair to say introducing the Badlands, Luke, or should we talk
Is
about
it
that a little
hurtful?
bit?
Is it disrespectful to say introducing the Badlands?
No, okay, here's the deal. We really did
All right.
make a cute little logo for the Badlands, and we have now put that on hoodies and T-shirts. They actually would make really nice looking little camping hoodies or T-shirts and water bottles and mugs and everything that you said. Plus, we have our usual store items up there, things that say TBTL and the stickers, but we did add that just this week, and we've been meaning to mention it, and I keep forgetting, and I apologize for that.
No, it's on me.
I do want to say one thing, too. We are putting this up here just as an option for you guys if you're looking, especially John was very thoughtful to say, hey, the holidays are coming up. People like to look for things for loved ones who are TBTL listeners. But just so you know, this is not a fundraising effort for us. We don't make money off of these things, so don't rush to the store because you think you're supporting TBTL. Just rush to the store if this is a need or a want that you have. I just kind of want to be clear about the TBTL-a-thon being very different from what this is. This is not a money
this is
maker
not
for
the
us.
thon, and honestly, we don't really make any money. We just think it's fun for people to be wearing TBTL T-shirts and drinking out of TBTL coffee mugs, if possible, out in the world. Also, another thing is, if you got the tambourine that's got this sort of Alvin and the Chipmunks version of me and Andrew and John that our friend Max from right here in New York City designed, that's also a T-shirt now.
That's right. How did I forget about that?
That's in addition to the Badlands shirts. And by the way, I'm really proud of, I think it was John's idea, and then you actually you were the one that did the design on it, Andrew, but the TBTL Badlands logo, the official TBTL Badlands logo, it's as if you're entering a national park. And there is a Badlands National Park, and it says, but you're entering the TBTL Badlands. So I actually am very, from just a design standpoint, from just a sort of, aesthetic, that word gets overused, I think that they look really cool. I'm very proud of this.
that logo, because it looks like the national park sign with that classic font. on the colored hoodies and T-shirts, they just look like kind of park ranger-ish in a good way, kind of. I don't know. It has a nice, cozy sort of outdoors vibe to me personally that I really like. So yeah, do check that out if you guys are looking for things. And once again, thanks again to Max for creating a really amazing piece of art for the Chipmunks.
Absolutely.
Also, happy Blur's Day to Mark.
Oh, we haven't thanked him yet.
Okay.
He's got that dog in him.
Jared says, Happy Blur's Day to my wife. Can you let her know, quote, you are my soup snake, The Office reference. I love you so much. Happy Blur's Day and 12-year anniversary. So happy Blur's Day to Jared's wife. Jared did not include his wife's name, which maybe, that's for personal reasons, but I'm just hoping there are no other soup snake references in the Blur's case. Anne says, happy belated birthday to Sebastian in San Diego, who turned 18 on Monday. Seb is funny, kind, thoughtful, and a very talented musician. I am proud of the young adult he's become.
Aww.
And I'm so excited to see what the next chapter of his life brings. With lots of love, Auntie Anne in Massachusetts.
Cute.
I could go for some Auntie Anne's now. Those were the pretzels, right? In the mall?
Oh, I had a full-on hot pretzel the other day from a New York street vendor.
What'd you dip
we
it
were
in?
walking, it was mustard.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, it was weird though because I figured, wouldn't that be in your mind? Wouldn't that be the most natural thing? I mean, I think honestly it was maybe the only option. I go to buy this pretzel. It's near Central Park. This is when we're watching the marathon. We're kind of trying to get back somewhere to the starting line. I'm hungry. I walk by this stand that's selling all kinds of different things, including pretzels, and I go, one pretzel, and he just hands it to me dry. And I go, can I get mustard with that? And he goes, come back here. I have to step behind the cart, where he then just gets out a thing of mustard that he's also using on hot dogs or whatever, and he just hits this with some mustard and hands it back to me. But it's now it's like a large surface area that I'm trying to keep the mustard from falling off.
That's
Remember when you were a kid and you had those boxes with a marble in them, and you could kind of go up and down, and you try to get the marble to go through the course?
Yeah.
A maze, if you will. That was me with this mustard, trying to keep it from falling. And I thought, how is there not a little cup for this?
Yeah.
Or is it seemed to be genuinely surprising to him that I wanted something to put on this hot pretzel, but don't you think it's weirder to just raw dog a hot pretzel? A hot pretzel without any kind of a sauce of some kind on it just seems like that would be really weird to me, but that seems to be how people are taking their hot pretzels here.
Well, listen, I've eaten a lot of just non-dipped soft pretzels in my lifetime because when I was a kid, I didn't even really like mustard that much, and I would never use a cheese dipping sauce, which I think would be the other natural option there. But I was a weird kid, and I didn't have any condiments on a lot of the things I ate. But at this day and age, you'd expect to have at least the option, and it should be a little paper ramekin or something.
That was exactly what I was expecting.
The little cup that the pills come in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right? In fact, they should have a whole One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest theme for this whole hot dog cart, Luke. I have an idea. Do you have this guy's contact information? About branding, making it sort of about... Anyway,
I can find him.
But yeah, no, that's weird, and I really dislike that idea of carrying this thing around and you're trying to balance it. That seems very... walking and eating already is a little bit tough for me.
It was, at least it's not electric yellow mustard that will stain forever
right?
if it gets on you. But it was kind of good, actually, because what it meant was I only ate half of the pretzel, which is the amount of pretzel I needed, you know what I mean? But, pretty soon I got tired of dealing. What I really wanted was, 2 bites of a hot pretzel in New York City. And so once I had done that, I was like, oh, this is a mess. It's getting on my hands. It's like I tore off a little piece for Becca, and then I was like, okay, now we're just tossed. Actually, you know what? I gave it to the birds. I left it out for some pigeons, which seems very also on brand for this city. So
yeah, hope they like mustard. It's kind of funny. It doesn't really matter to the audience at all, but your camera froze a while back, and you're just leaning into the camera, and you're looking really, really intense, but you're frozen like that on my screen. It's intimidating.
Oh, great.
Oh, there, it just stopped. Hey, nice.
Yes, I'm back now.
You're not as intimidating anymore. I kind of like that. Trap says, I want to send out a happy Blur's Day to my awesome wife, Heather. She's having the big 5-0 on November 12th. That's my wife. She's an OG 10 that has successfully converted me to a 10 as well. She
nice. That's
thank
so
you.
hard to do.
Actually, that's points. point. We're giving out 1 million points for that. She now gets 1 recruiting point. Oh yeah, she has also unfortunately converted me to a Mariners fan. So now I better understand. So now I better understand the heights and joy and the depths of despair.
I think it's going to be joyful for a few seasons.
I hope so.
That's my prediction.
I mean, a friend texted me today and said, I hear the Mariners are in the Scooble market, which is a nice thing to say, but wouldn't every team at this stage say that they're in the Scooble market almost? Like, who wouldn't be in the Scooble market?
True.
I don't know what the report is, though. I don't know.
I've been seeing that for a while. I mean, that is just pure... Well, maybe there's some new news there. I mean, I obviously the thought was that Tarik Skubal maybe is going to want more money than Detroit can pay him or wants to pay him, and so then that means someone else gets to have him, and who would that someone else be? I mean, presumably the Dodgers, but it would be cool if it was the Mariners. That'd be amazing.
I mean, after all, we already kind of owned them.
Hey!
No, that was rude.
See, I don't have my rim shot either.
That was rude to our Detroit fans. I'm just kidding. It was a good series. All right, Max in Seattle says, writing in to wish myself my annual Happy Self Blurs Day.
Nice.
I blurs myself. Wow, this year I entered into the depths of the end stage of the twilight of my 30s. I didn't pre-read that.
Ooh.
That got me scared.
Wow.
I wasn't sure where we were going with that.
Depths of the end stage of the twilight. So
of
he's
my
turning
30s.
39?
I'm guessing. I'm doing everything in my power to make this one a good year and feel happy with myself. I'd like to give a shout out to my fellow Scorpitens. Ooh, I never have heard that before, but I like that. Scorpitens.
Are we in Scorpio Town right now? Is that
we
the
must
sign?
be. I'm basing that strictly on Max's message here. Keep up the good work. What we do is so important. Now, it does say when we do is so important. I don't know if that's a joke about astrology. Is that an astrology joke, or is it a typo?
like
'Cause I don't know enough
Scorpio?
about it. Like, I'd like to give a shout out to my fellow Scorpitens. Keep up the good work. When we do is so important. I think that's a typo.
I think that no. I think that's
so? That's a
yeah. They're saying because
intentional joke.
when you were born is so important.
When we do is so important. Okay, good. I like that better, and I'm glad that I corrected it then. Thank you, Max. Just glad that I'm doing everybody justice today with these blurs.
Hold on, I need to talk about the merch more, but let me get this song dialed up.
Oh, and we've run out of music, which I've already restarted twice. Riley says, I'm writing, it's like a 17-minute file, by the way. Riley says, I'm writing to wish a happy Blurs Day to my fiancée, Minnie. Minnie is a smart, sweet, and funny person, a loving cat mom, and a talented gardener. Oh. We're just talking about gardening. The cats and I are lucky to have her in our lives, and we all hope she has a great year. I'm not even starting the music again, by the way. You guys are getting this.
This is my gardening ambiance.
I love that. Happy Blurs Day, Minnie, from Riley and your friends at TBTL. And finally, Molly says, a very happy belated Blurs Day to Laura. I have so much fun living vicariously through you on Instagram, and I love to see that you're doing well. We got some positive news on election night, so let's hope the momentum continues to work in our favor. That's from Molly. That must have just come in today. I didn't even realize that.
That's got to be breaking.
That's fresh.
Breaking
All right.
news, but piping hot, fresh breaking news that yes, for at least today, we're enjoying reading the newspaper and seeing all the think pieces about how the Democrats have their mojo back, as it were. So,
indeed.
All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. Boy, we went a while today, didn't we?
And this was probably not a day that you could afford to go. I'm looking here.
Oh no,
we are
I'm
so
good.
close to 2 hours here.
Good. Well, we just have to follow where the spirit leads us, my friend, and that's where it led us. I've been staring out here on Times Square. I'm actually where my room is located is very cool for people watching and also for just like sign watching. But one of the recurring ads, you know how basically the way it's set up is all these giant digital billboards will just show the same 4 ads just on a constant 1 minute loop.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that keeps coming up is for the Ringer podcast network run by Bill Simmons.
Yeah, that's where Billy Gill just went.
And I'm a fan of Bill Simmons' work. I like him and everything. But one of the podcasts that's on his network is it's the Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag. They were on that show, The Hills, and it's they were called Spidey. That was like a combination of their names. And the fact that the Spidey podcast is being promoted in Times Square once every 45 seconds and we're not, Andrew. That's tough for me to take. That's kind of dispiriting. So,
wonder if Bill Simmons could use some of his budget to promote TBTL. Genevieve's a huge fan of his Rewatchables podcast.
That's the show that they're promoting.
Yeah,
they're promoting the Rewatchables, and then all of a sudden it's Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag. So anyway,
before you wrap up, I want to tell you something. You said that you have all these like flashing lights and you're having a very Manhattan-y moment. I will tell you that the camera on your computer that we're talking on is sort of probably at desk level, so you have it sort of tilted upward, so I mostly can kind of see your ceiling.
Can you see the lights behind me?
Yes, and I've been watching all show. I even was considering asking you about it. I've been seeing, because you have a white, looks like maybe painted ceiling or maybe a tiled ceiling, and I've been watching the colored lights flashing. They're the reflection of those signs in the ceiling.
You know, the one you're getting it's kind of unfun. It's Coca-Cola. It's not
is that
anything
what I'm seeing? Okay.
That the red is Coca-Cola.
Oh, I can almost see the bottle now. I'm not even joking. Is there a bottle kind of in the middle of it? Oh, look at that.
Yep, there is. That's exactly what you're saying.
It's all about reflections. TBTL is all
That's
about
right.
reflecting.
It's a famously a visual medium, this podcasting that we do. So, all right, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back here tomorrow with more Imaginary Radio. In the meantime, have a great Wednesday. Take care of yourselves, and please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.